A good vach, we're up to 27. HaMakir es Mekomo. It is quite surprising. There are various different interpretations, different pirushim. What do Chazal mean, HaMakir es Mekomo? And I want to mention three different approaches, interpretations from great Gedolei Yisrael, from the early Rishonim till the Achronim. And then number four will be what I believe is the most reasonable interpretation and approach. Number one, Machzor Vitri. That goes back 1,000 years. Machzor Vitri, his interpretation is the literal one. HaMakir es Mekomo, your place in Beis Medrash, in Yeshiva. Be korveya mokim for your Torah and come on time. Don't come late. If you come late, then naturally you don't find your place, as if you forgot where your place in the yeshiva is. And the Machzor Vitri quotes the Gemara, "B'mi atu moitze divrei Torah, b'mi shemashkim u'ma'ariv oleho," those that come early. So that's an interesting interpretation in Makir es Mekomo. Mekomo means literally your place in shul. Well, it's the Machzor Vitri, but I don't think it is a very reasonable pshat in Makir es Mekomo. Rashi, and I explained many times, Rashi Masechet Avos is not necessarily Rashi, but definitely one of the early Rishonim. So the pshat of Rashi is, Ani b'mkoimoi oimed. Mokoim doesn't mean literally space or place, but I still maintain my position. Quoting the Gemara in Sanhedrin, as Sanhedrin, if the majority of the Dayanim feel that a person is chayav misa, they need to sleep over on that decision, reconsider. And then they convene tomorrow, and each of the Dayanim is asked, did you change your mind? And each of them responds by saying, Ani bimkoimi oimeid. Bimkoimi oimeid, I stand in my place, doesn't really mean space, but rather, I did not change my mind. So the interpretation of Makir es Mekomo is, he could explain his viewpoint, his svara, his opinions are based on logic, and that is once again an interesting interpretation of Makir es Mekomo. Ruach Chaim, Reb Chaim Evelazhin, interpretation number three, which is purely in the spirit of Musar. Makir es Mekomo, where have you come from and where you will ultimately go? Ofor ato ve'el ofor toshuv. The neshama will go up to the heavens and your body will go back to the dust of the earth. And that is Makir es Mekomo. Understand where your place is. Ultimately, where will you be going? Your body back to the dust of the earth. Your neshama is going to go up to the heavens. And that is an awareness which is very important. So these are three different pirushim, three different interpretations. Machzor Vitri, Rashi, Reb Chaim Evelazhin going back to 100 years. But I think the Maharal is the real and simple pshat. Makir es Mekomo, it is important for a Talmid Chacham, especially an aspiring Talmid Chacham, to have a realistic self-appreciation and self-evaluation. Know your strengths, know your shortcomings. And sometimes you see a young Ben Torah yeshiva boy who is so arrogant. He really thinks he's the Gadol Ador. And instead of listening to what his teachers and Rosh Hashivas have to say, He's always arguing, and sometimes it seems so ridiculous. You're not in a position to argue. Yes, you need to try to understand and be honest with yourself. But the tendency just to put up a fight and put up an argument sometimes is not only annoying, it is even ridiculous. On the other hand, if a young aspiring Talmid Chacham has no self-esteem, he won't dare. He won't dare to think. He won't dare to suggest. He won't dare to question what he hears from his Rosh Hashiva, and one should question. There's a difference between trying to understand and questioning and argumentation just for the sake of argumentation. So I think the pshat in Makiras Mekomo is, it is so important for an aspiring Talmid Chacham to be realistic in his self-evaluation. Know your strengths, know your shortcomings, know your deficiencies, and try to forge ahead. That is Makiras Mekomo, which is essential to the growth and development of a Talmid Chacham.